Hello.
Well, I unmuted you. Thought I clicked mine. It's this whole mouse navigation thing. I think I need a new mouse. We're going to blame it on that. What's up, everyone? Welcome to DFS Live. It is Friday, October 25th, 2024. We're 6 days away from Halloween. So better get ready for all those trick-or-treaters. Get your costumes. I do believe Casey and I will be dressed up for the show on Thursday next week. Ooh, the flagship show. Who knows what I'll dress up as? We'll see. The kid's dressing up as Deadpool, which I think is awesome. He's never seen it, but
Yeah.
you know, it's that vigilante feeling, just like Dad or something. But we're here not to talk about Halloween, not to talk about our costumes. We're here to talk about the Week 8 NFL slate and how it relates to your main slate DFS lineups. We've had some weird action this morning. We've got Deontay Johnson is now out. It sounds like he caught a case of Bryce Young starting-itis in his ribs. I can't say I blame him. Jaden Daniels appears to be trending towards possibly playing, though I wouldn't hang my hat on that. Definitely not going to plug him in DFS this week. Though it would be great for my season long to see him play.
I've been watching that. I'm not sure he's going to play as well. I wouldn't count on it. Season long, I'd still probably play him if he plays DFS.
Yeah, but not in DFS.
Yeah.
But let's get to it here. With all of the news going on, we're going to start with our quarterbacks for this main slate. The high-priced quarterback that we love this week, and pretty much every week, if Jaden Daniels isn't the guy, it's going to be Lamar Jackson. He is $8,000 right now on DraftKings. He is $8,800 on FanDuel. Baltimore this week is up against Cleveland. Been a decent defense. I don't think I care because it's Lamar Jackson, Mike.
It is a good defense. Lamar Jackson is just balling out right now. It looks like Zay Flowers is going to be in the lineup, by the way, as well. So, we talk about how he spreads the ball around. And, of course, everybody likes to talk about the Konami code, how he runs the ball exceptionally well. I like this week as I think Cleveland's going to throw the ball a lot as well. And you can throw on the Ravens. So they'll probably turn the ball over too, but expect the Browns to actually put up some points now that Deshaun Watson's is not the quarterback, which means the Ravens are going to put up some points as well, right? So I like this call. He's one of my favorite players, so I have a soft spot for Lamar.
Me too. He hasn't been under 40 yards rushing yet this season, and that was week 6 against Washington. Cleveland's run defense hasn't been especially great. I can see Lamar Jackson taking advantage of that and just kind of running all over this team. In addition to, hopefully we see a hyper-targeted Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers this week. My fantasy teams need it. Now, our mid pick here is Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions. He is $6,600 on DraftKings, $7,900 on FanDuel. Mike, they're up against Tennessee this week.
The Titans surprisingly defend the pass well because you can run on them. But Goff, the last couple of weeks, has really come alive. I know because I have him on multiple season-long fantasy teams as well, by the way. And he's playing top-notch football the past few weeks. So I like this because I like the player as well, and I like the team. Hey, maybe Laporta will catch a couple of balls this week too.
Please.
But they move the ball through the air. Sometimes they punch it in with the running backs. I need Goff to throw a touchdown or two and not have them punch it in with Gibbs and Montgomery every time. That's what I need from them.
He's only got 2 weeks with less than 2 touchdown passes. He didn't throw in against Tampa Bay, and he only had the 1 touchdown against the Rams in week 1. Otherwise, 2, 2, 3, and 2. He was 18 of 18 against a pretty decent Seattle pass defense. They can't stop the run. Yeah. Yes. So I like Goff no matter the matchup, but I think this week I have this feeling he's going to have like a top 10 QB performance, even though defensively you maybe don't lean that way.
It's defensively, the Titans are good because they're bad against the run. It's not that they're good against the pass.
Right.
It's just that they're bad against the run. But Goff has been playing the past few weeks that I'm talking about, and I've been watching the Lions games because I'm happy they're good. Not that I'm a huge Lions fan, but I tend to always have fantasy teams where a Lions player, even when they suck, would be on my team for some reason, always. So I always rooted for them in some way. But like in basketball, when players say the game seems slowed down, like I know
Hmm.
it's coming before it happens, I get to move around this guy and shoot.
Yes.
Goff seems to be playing like that the last two games, right? Like, because Seattle's defense is really good, by the way. It's not a bad
Yeah.
defense at all. And he pretty much was perfect against a really good defense. And that's not easy to do. Um, I like him
Yeah.
a lot. I'm playing him all over the place in season long. So
Yeah, we all are. It's a symptom of being maybe in a little bit too many leagues. Now, this one surprises me, Mike. My low pick of the week is Bo Nix, Denver Broncos. He's 5,600 on DraftKings, 6,900 on FanDuel. They're up against Carolina. Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, not going to play. Bryce Young is starting at quarterback. They're going to have the ball for, I think, a total of maybe 7 minutes in this whole game with Denver's defense. This is just where I feel like the Broncos are going to have the ball a ton and they're going to score like 40, 50 points. And Nix is going to be a big part of that.
Well, and the Panthers also stuck on defense all the way around. They give up
all the way around.
They give the sixth most fantasy points to opposing teams' quarterbacks. 228 yards and 2 touchdowns a game is what quarterbacks average passing against them. I have as moneymakers this week, and in my late slate article, by the way, quite a few Broncos players. Will transition to one that's a running back soon enough. But like, I really like Troy Franklin this week because of this matchup as well, and he's priced so low, right? Like it's
he's like basement pricing.
Yeah.
I don't have him as a wide receiver to stack, but he's definitely someone I would consider stacking with Nix.
Okay.
And this isn't someone I'm not like all of a sudden on the Bo Nix train where he's this guy who's going to be usable every week. This is matchup, and this is you want to target Carolina every week, I think is what it comes down to. Now, speaking of running backs and other players we're going to target around the league, let's get to those running backs. We're going to start with your high pick, Mike. J.K. Dobbins of the Los Angeles Chargers, 6,000 on DraftKings, 6,000 on FanDuel, 6,900, I'm sorry, on DraftKings. Dobbins has been up and down, but it kind of seems like he's starting to I feel like he's on an upswing right now.
So he's been down against the defenses that are great against the run, and he's been really up when playing defenses that don't defend the run well. So he averages 20 fantasy points a game against the two teams that don't defend the run well at all. He scored, I think, 22 points one game, 19 points the other game. They're playing the Saints, the Chargers are in week 8. The Saints do not defend running backs well. Running backs average 117 yards and a touchdown rushing every week against the Saints team. Another 40 yards receiving against this team every week. Dobbins could be a really good play this week, and he's 6,900 on DraftKings, 7,400 on FanDuel. Lots of like mid-priced running backs in great positions this week, by the way, like a lot.
Yeah, well, everything that we've got, I mean, we're sitting right in that mid realm with all three of these guys, and they're, in my opinion, the three best plays on the slate. Now, Kareem Hunt in our mid tier here, in this new look, as you roll your eyes, in this new look Kansas City Chiefs offense, even though they're undefeated, it looks completely different going into this week. Kareem Hunt, he's $6,300 on DraftKings. He is $8,100 on FanDuel.
Where he should way up there, by the way, on FanDuel. It's amazing the price discrepancy between the two on him, I think.
It is pretty crazy. But yeah, Kareem Hunt should be up here in DraftKings. He's not. Who else is going to get the rushing volume in that offense?
He averages in the last 2 games, so he's only played 3 games. In the first game, he was splitting time across the board with the other guys. He probably wasn't in game shape because I heard somebody mention today that he's looking pretty thick. He's pretty heavy. He averages 24 touches a game over this 2-game span. That's insane, right? He has 200 total yards, so 100 yards a game, and 3 touchdowns, right? They're playing the Raiders. The Raiders give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing teams' running backs. Smash spot for Hunt with that kind of volume, and he's going to get it again. I don't care that they signed DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to get it. They're not changing their scheme as long as they keep winning, and I don't know who's going to stop them. So, I love Kareem Hunt this week.
You've got Patrick Mahomes playing well below expectation. You've got Travis Kelce, who is spotty, mostly non-existent. Yet this team they just keep winning. Getting Hopkins and getting Kareem Hunt going, it's scary for the rest of the AFC.
Mahomes is playing excellent real football.
Real football, yes.
Crap fantasy football.
Yes.
And that's because he's not throwing the touchdowns. So this team really kind of looks like a Patriots team from 2004, right?
Yes.
That's what they look like. They have a quarterback who spreads the ball around and really can play super efficient, mistake-free football. Mahomes is just, in all fairness, he's really on top of his game. I don't want to play him in fantasy.
No,
he's just not throwing any touchdowns.
Like we said Tuesday, he's droppable.
Yeah, I dropped him in the league. I had him, by the way. I called myself a hero for removing a hostage from a hostage. I got rid of a hostage situation. He held a bench spot hostage. But they move the ball with pass, run, and then they pound the living daylights out of you with their offensive line and their running back to score touchdowns. And it's working. And they'll stop you on defense. So, as long as they keep doing this, I want to keep playing Kareem Hunt. He was somebody I was really high on once they signed him. It's proving to be a good call. Lucky sometimes. Sometimes I get lucky. But I really like that play. I mean, you must like this next guy too, right?
I do. Javante Williams is the low pick, Mike. And like we were talking about hammering this Carolina defense, but Javante Williams is starting to look like the Javante Williams we all thought we were going to get at some point last season.
So high on him in the preseason. Nick Scripp and I kept talking about him, and we were so disappointed with how this season started. But he's coming around, right? He's coming around, and he's playing the Panthers. They give up the most fantasy points to opposing teams' running backs. This is not a fluke or chasing points if you think it is, right, with Javante Williams. He leads the Broncos in running back snaps. He leads them in touches. He had 17 touches last week, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's not a fluke. He's going to produce again this week, and they're going to look to him to produce again this week. He's 6,000 on both DraftKings and FanDuel too. Price really.
Yeah. The thing about this Denver offense is you're watching them learn who they are in real time every week. And part of that identity, 14 carries for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns just on the ground for Williams last week. Not a great week against the Chargers, but you look at what he did against the Jets, 16 carries, 77 yards. When this team can get into rhythm and play well, Javante Williams is going to play well. If they can't get into rhythm against Carolina, they should be relegated to the USFL or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, if they can't get into rhythm against the Panthers, they can't get into rhythm against anyone. So
right. Well, let's move on to wide receivers, Mike. My high pick this week, Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown. He's coming into his own while he's healthy, which makes a world of difference, which is going to really help this Philly offense, but it really helps me want to roster him. He's $8,200 on DraftKings this week. He's $9,000 on FanDuel. They're up against Cincinnati. I think this is going to be a big A.J. Brown game.
I think this is going to be a shootout, right?
It should be.
I don't have the over-under in front of me, by the way. But I think this one's the game that should be the shootout on the slate. I think both teams are going to feel they have to score. I'm excited about it. I like Jamar Chase on the other side if you want to run it back too, with high-priced guys. That's, I like this call because they're going to need to move the ball. The Bengals are looking sharp again, right? And they're moving the ball really well. So you're going to see that the Eagles have to do the same in response. So I like
they just have this weird early season underperforming problem in Cincinnati, it seems. And who knows what it is, but they always get it going. I'm with you. I think it's going to be a shootout. The over under 47.5 is the second highest on the slate. The only game that has a higher over under is Jacksonville Green Bay.
I'm surprised not in the 50s. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised.
Same. Now the mid pick, Tyreek Hill. You heard what he said yesterday. Tua officially cleared protocol. He will be starting. He said, "Fire up the effing band." All
Super
right.
happy for him. I like that call as well. I think your Miami skill position players all get uplifted with Tua back.
Yeah.
And I know people are talking about other players for MVP, but if they have success the rest of the way, Tua should probably be the MVP
Yeah.
because it's proven that without him, their offense sucks. It's just horrible.
It's putrid. It's putrid. Yeah, and I agree. I think really the two MVP candidates for me, if Tua comes back and gets this team rolling again, it's going to be Tua, and then it's going to be Jaden Daniels because he turned a franchise around in one season.
Oh
All of
man,
a sudden, the
yeah.
Commanders are good.
But is he rookie of the year or MVP? I have a
Both.
feeling they won't give him the MVP. They'll just give him the
Oh,
rookie.
come on. Let him be Fernando Valenzuela. We just lost the man. We need a repeat.
I'm for it. I think he's worth it. I think
he is too.
he's worth it too. Right? That team.
Well, okay, so
if he doesn't play
wins,
this week, I don't like.
If he wins MVP, doesn't he have to win Rookie of the Year?
You would think. Think that would be the case, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, guys, anyways, fire up Tyreek Hill. 7,000 on DraftKings. He's 7,600 on FanDuel. This last guy, Darnell Mooney, I have been all over him because he's just been really quietly very good in Atlanta. He is $5,800 on DraftKings, $6,300 on FanDuel. They're playing Tampa Bay. Again, another game that should be a shootout. I'm surprised the over-under on that game isn't a little bit higher. It's got set at 45.5. Again, that's what I think should be closer to that 50 range.
It's probably because the two starting wide receiver for the Buccaneers are out. But
I don't care about that. That's silly.
He had 2 touchdowns in week 5 against the Buccaneers in his best game of the season. I like that passing offense of the Falcons this week, by the way, a lot. I like London and Cousins too. I think we're going to see a shootout too. I don't see the Buccaneers slowing their offense down because those guys are out. I think they're going to try to stay that kind of a pace.
Well, and it looks like Bucky Irving's going to play too. They're saying he's game time, but he probably is likely going to suit up. Tampa Bay is giving up the 6th most half PPR points to wide receivers, 30.3. So Darnell Mooney at $5,800. It's kind of a smash play for me.
Yeah, the 6th most fantasy points to wide receivers the Buccaneers give up. So it's a great play.
Yep. We've got a question in the chat we'll get to here real quick. Well, he didn't finish it. JXHE17. Hello, Nate. Half PPR deep. When you've got the rest of that one, buddy, drop it in here. But we do appreciate the questions. Now on to tight ends. The wasteland cesspool that is tight end.
It's gotten better.
It's gotten a little better.
With names you didn't expect it to get better with, though. Right?
Yeah. Right. Brock Bowers, the high pick. That's going to be, I think, probably a weekly thing. He's $6,100 on DraftKings. He is $7,400 on FanDuel. Jacoby Myers is doubtful. So I think there's even more of an onus on getting Brock Bowers into your lineup this week.
Currently, overall tight end 2 in fantasy behind George Kittle. 3 straight weeks, double-digit fantasy scores. Top option in the Raiders pass offense all season long so far.
Yeah.
Playing the Chiefs this week, who happen to give up the most fantasy points to tight ends. So the situation, as well as the volume, is there. It would be a surprise if Brock Bowers does not produce this week, to me.
Oh, he has to.
Yeah,
he'll be tight end. He'll be the tight end 1. He'll be tight end 1 this week. Now, your mid pick, David Njoku. I love this one because we get fun in Cleveland, like we talked about on Tuesday.
We've been waiting for this for months.
We've been waiting for it for months. But here's what excites me. Njoku last week, Deshaun Watson goes down. 14 targets, 10 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown. 82% snap share.
You know who threw the touchdown to him, too, as well, right?
Yeah, Jameis,
right?
Jameis.
So, Jameis is the tide that lifts all ships in this offense. I really love this week. With Winston driving this bus, he's going to throw the ball. Njoku, 14 targets, 10 receptions. Oh, my God. That volume.
I know.
Right? So, again, we didn't see this coming. and he's playing against a team that gives up 6 receptions and 76 yards weekly to tight ends. So again, the situation's right, the volume's going to be there, and you have somebody who's going to throw the ball to him, right? Watson just he looked disinterested. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Winston's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this one too. I don't have enough Njoku stock now, so I have to play him in DFS where I can. I'm happy.
I think I've got a couple shares of him in Dynasty. Now the low pick here, Cade Otton, he's $3,500 on DraftKings, Mike. 5,200 on FanDuel, not quite as low. With Chris Godwin out for the rest of the season, likely. Mike Evans has officially been ruled out for this week. Expect that through the bye week 11. Cade Otton all of a sudden kind of becomes the wide receiver one. I mean, I know we've got Sterling Shepard. I know we've got Jaylen McMillan, but who's going to be the target hog here?
So we both mentioned we were surprised it took a while for him to get going because he was very good last season and underrated, really underrated guy, right? Past 2 games, 16 targets overall. He had a touchdown in week 6. He only had like 15 yards, but he had 100 yards last week in week 7. Godwin's out, Evans out. Mayfield trusts him. So I think you're going to see Cade Otton see a lot of targets again this week, probably another big yardage game as well.
Yeah.
You're probably going to see Bucky and White both involved in the passing game a bit more as well if they're Bucky's playing, right? I know people are hot for McMillan. I think Cade Otton's benefiting the most from this. I think he's going to be the guy targeted the most. I'm
okay with targeting McMillan. If you're looking for a super low play to kind of bolster the rest of your roster, and he's a toss-in guy in DFS. I'm also okay with going after him. If you're a Godwin owner or you're an Evans owner in fantasy and season long, go get Jaylen McMillan. It's okay. I'm okay with that. But don't expect him to be a wide receiver one.
No, because it's not happening.
But vacated targets aren't real.
But Otton, on the other hand, is going to be a tight end one.
Yes. Oh, yes. I think I have him.
Maybe rest of season, right? Like this is.
Yes, he's lining up to be a tight end one rest of season, which I love it. I love it. I love Cade Otton. All right, JXHE17 got the rest of his question in, Mike. So let's get to this one real quick here. Half PPR deep league. How would you rank these flex options? Devon Vale, Dontavian Wicks, Josh Downs, Cedric Tillman, Tucker Kraft, and Khalil Shakir.
You gonna go first? Go first.
I'm thinking here. So I would go Kraft, Shakir, Wicks, Tillman, Downs, Devon Vale.
I would go right now today. Shakir, Kraft, Wicks, Tillman, Downs, Vale. Now, if Tillman gets 10 targets this week, which is something you want to be paying attention to, if he's getting bombs away from Winston, he could easily move to the top of this list. The rest of them are kind of staying where they're staying. Wicks and Kraft are in a crowded receiving room, a lot of branches on that passing tree. Shakir has benefited, though, I think, from Amari Cooper. So is Keon Cole with Amari Cooper on that team. So, like, Shakir's going to be probably your second guy, no matter who the first guy is, in my mind, out of this group.
Devon Vale's interesting to me because he eats up those short targets for Bo Nix.
I'm paying heavy attention to him every week, man. I'm hoping for him to start eating.
I wrote him up week 2 as somebody I would be targeting on waivers. Then he got hurt, so it just didn't kind of work out. But JXHE also wants to know, does Jacoby Myers have stage fright? I mean, this might be a Deontay Johnson type business decision. We don't really know.
It could be, but
it could be.
He's not Devontae Adams, right? Like, I know he's a solid wide receiver. You would think he'd want to do more talking on the field to find a place to go, but
you would think so. I'd want to play with Gardner Minshew over Aiden O'Connell.
I like Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
I'm a Minshew maniac.
He lives in a bus down by the river. What's not to like, man? We got Hollywood Titan dropping into the chat saying, "What up? Great show, Titan. It's always a pleasure to see you, buddy." We're going to get to our DST picks now. This one's pretty simple for me. I think Denver is a no-brainer as my high pick here. They're up against Bryce Young and his cast of minor league wide receivers. They're $3,700, which that's high priced here. $5,000 on FanDuel. My mid pick's Green Bay, because why are they just being so underrated?
I don't know. They produce every single week. I literally have them in season long as a fantasy defense where I don't have like the Vikings because they just produce every week. They're probably good for 8 to 10 points no matter who they're playing. So I like that call too.
Well, and Pat Surtain's back.
The 6-pack is, oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, or I'm sorry, Pat Surtain. I've been saying it wrong all along. Now Chicago, 2.7K over there on DraftKings. They're up against Washington. They're really low priced, and if we get Marcus Mariota, this could be a big week for them to just rack up points.
So I actually wrote up Jaden Daniels as a heartbreaker in my Moneymakers and Heartbreakers article this week because of this. The Bears defense is very good, right? And Daniels has not played against a defense this good yet. He's had a pretty easy schedule. So, if Daniels doesn't play, oh my God, this is a smash spot for that Bears defense. Like they're gonna take big advantage of that team.
Yeah.
Big advantage. Yeah.
Big advantage.
I still prefer the Broncos with the Captain Obvious pick, right? Because Bryce Young is just bad. But I like the Bears too at that price point. Like I think that's a good play if Jaden Daniels doesn't play.
Yeah. I mean, even if he does play, I still like playing him.
Oh, I still like it too. He hasn't played a defense that tough yet, so it'll be interesting to see how it pans out.
Well, guys, that does it for our DFS picks. That doesn't do it for us necessarily. Mike and I will be back next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern for the Waiver Wire show. Hop on with us. It's going to be a blast. We're going to help you guys win your leagues in week 9. But later today, less than an hour away, actually, I'm going to be back here in about 40 minutes for the live Q&A. We've got guest Keith Fleming from Fantasy and Frames joining me again tonight. Get in there and ask your questions. We've got a hard out at 7 p.m. Eastern because it's Friday.
I'm going to wear my costume next week. Middle-aged man with white hair. Oh, I'm already.
I'm going to be a fantasy analyst in glasses.
Well, and a baseball hat with a beard. If you turn your hat backwards and put on a hoodie, you are that's the fantasy analyst costume. I should probably do that.
All right. I guess, that's what I'll do next week. We'll see. I'll get creative with it. Maybe I'll dress up as D-Bro. Who knows?
You can pull that one off.
Don't forget, on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, we will be on Reddit r/fantasy football to answer your start-sit questions, trade questions, roster evaluations, whatever you can throw at us right up until kickoff. We do apologize for the one-word answers on start-sit, but we're rolling through hundreds of questions, so we do the best
I was
we
late.
can.
There'll be more this week. I won't be as late.
Well, we got through it, though. It was all right. All right, everyone. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Good luck with those DFS lineups. Please win some money. And if we helped you, send us a screenshot. Tag us on Twitter. Let us know. We would love to know about it. For Mike Reedy, I'm Nate Polvogt. We'll see you next week, folks.
Thanks, everyone.